Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving deep into Dr. Joe Dispenza's fascinating book, Becoming Supernatural. We're going to break down his core ideas on how you can create some really profound changes in your life, literally from the inside out.
So let me just start by asking you something. Does it ever feel like your life is kind of stuck on repeat? You wake up, go through the motions, and it just feels like tomorrow is already destined to be a slightly different version of yesterday?
Well, if that hits home at all, you are definitely not alone. That's a super common feeling. But here's the thing. According to Dr. Dispenza, you're not actually stuck with that script. You have the power to write a brand new one, and we're about to get into exactly how.
Okay, so first things first, we have to really understand the problem. Why do we get so stuck in the first place? Well, Dispenza's whole argument is that biologically and emotionally, most of us are literally living in the past.
It all boils down to this concept he calls the thinking-feeling loop. Here's how it works. You have a thought, any thought, and your brain releases chemicals that make your body feel a certain way. So you think a worried thought, and bam, you start to feel anxious. But then, the moment your body feels anxious, it signals your brain to think more worried thoughts to justify that feeling. And round we go, stuck in the same cycle. And here's the really wild part. Your body has no idea whether you're experiencing something for real or just remembering it. So every time you replay a stressful memory, your body gets the same exact flood of stress hormones. Over time, it can literally become addicted to that chemical cocktail, craving the familiar hit of guilt or anger or fear. And then it unconsciously steers you towards situations that will give it that fix.
So if that's the problem, what on earth is the solution? Well, this gets us to the core premise of the book, what Dispenza calls the supernatural solution.
This quote right here, it's really the heart and soul of the whole idea. It's this belief that making massive, extraordinary changes in your life isn't just for gurus or monks meditating on a mountaintop. It's a potential that's sitting inside every single one of us. Now, when he says becoming supernatural, don't think capes or magic wands. It's about learning to use the hardware you were born with, your own anatomy, your chemistry, your physiology, to break free from the programs of your past. It's about making real, measurable changes in your world by first mastering your inner world. All right, so if this is actually possible, how do we do it? What's the practical step-by-step method? Well, it all hinges on one central practice, a skill that lets you hit pause on all that old programming.
And that tool is meditation. But, and this is a huge but, we're not just talking about chilling out for a few minutes. In this context, meditation is an active skill. It's how you get access to the subconscious operating system of your mind, the place where all those automatic thoughts and emotional habits are running on loop. And what I love about this is how it breaks down the goal of the meditation. You're trying to get to a place where you forget about your body, where you're no longer thinking about the people and places in your life, and you've even lost track of time. You're trying to become pure consciousness. This state of being nobody, nowhere, in no time, this is what Dispenza calls the quantum field. Think of it like this. You go from being an actor, completely lost in your character's drama, to becoming the silent audience member watching the play. When you're in that state of pure awareness, you're no longer defined by your past. And that is the exact moment you can start creating something brand new. Now, Dispenza doesn't just leave this in the realm of philosophy. He offers up a biological engine to explain how this all works. Let's look at two of the key scientific concepts he uses. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the one hand, you have the incoherent state. That's our default survival mode, right? We're stressed, our attention is scattered, we're constantly thinking about the past or worrying about the future. On the other hand, you have the coherent state. This is the creative mode, and you get there by combining a clear intention, which organizes your brainwaves, with an elevated emotion like gratitude, which creates a rhythmic, orderly heartbeat. This idea ties directly into the incredible science of epigenetics. We used to think our genes were our destiny, that the code we were born with was set in stone. But what epigenetics is showing us is that our emotions and our environment can act as signals that tell our genes to behave differently. And this is where it just gets mind-blowing. It means that by consciously feeling elevated emotions, really feeling them in that coherent state, you can send new signals to your DNA. You can literally tell your body to turn on genes for health and turn off genes for disease. You are emotionally teaching your body what its future feels like long before it actually happens. So let's get to the bottom line. Does any of this actually work in the real world?
The book uses the story of the woman named Anna as this incredible case study to show the whole process in action. Anna's story starts with an unbelievable trauma, her husband's sudden suicide. And this one single event just slammed her brain and body into a state of constant survival mode, anchoring her entire biology to that single moment in her past.
And you can see on this timeline what happened next. The chronic stress just led to a cascade of problems: paralysis, autoimmune issues, and then finally a cancer diagnosis. By 2011, she was at her absolute lowest point. But that was also her turning point, because just 2 years later, all of it was gone.
So how in the world did she do it? She put these exact principles into practice with incredible discipline. She meditated every single day. In those meditations, she combined a crystal clear intention of a healthy future with the elevated emotions of love and joy, feeling them as if they were already her reality. She literally refused to get up from her meditation until she felt like she was in love with her future life, effectively breaking her body's addiction to the past.
And the result was just profound. She didn't just get rid of her diseases. By changing her thoughts and feelings so consistently, she became a fundamentally different person. And that new personality just couldn't coexist with her old reality. It had to create a new one.
And that really brings us to the final and most important question, the one this entire body of work leaves us with. If you could actually break the habit of being your old self, the one defined by all those familiar memories and emotions, what new possibilities would open up? Who would you choose to become?